Welcome, guys. Welcome to Upskill Club, track number one, season four, episode number three. Today, we will try to answer a very common question, which has often um, been, especially being asked, yeah, at least at mid-level management level, yeah, why this person is doing well, why I'm not doing well, what makes him uh, getting the push, or what makes him good enough so that everybody is able to follow him or her, and what makes him that I want to work along with him or her. Her are less, unfortunately, in our STEM field, but yes, uh, that is also true for some hers. And that question is, what makes a leader? It's a very simple question. Before reading this book, I had some idea because some of the things I learned earlier, but in terms of exhaustiveness, I learned decent amount of it through the reading. We start with whatever one person that has left a specific mark in terms of leadership in your life. We can start with Aman, and then we'll deep dive into what the author suggests.
Uh, for me, if we say a leader would be my mother and father,
Uh-huh.
right? Because they had taught me various things. Because when I step out of my home, they were not with me. Only their guidance and their principles and their what they suggested to do in some scenarios helped me a lot. So yeah, for me, my mother and dad. My
Okay.
mother is because I'm very near to her. Yeah, it always
Okay.
trumps in everything.
And that is a very good question that you have, Aman. And now the question is, what makes her effective? What do you think? What are the traits that you personally like about her way of modulus operandi?
She takes rigid decisions. She don't think. She just think a lot before taking any decision. When she take a decision, and she never step out of back. That I have always learned. She take decisions. She'll always suggested to evaluate the environment
Hmm.
and then take the strongest decision that you can, and never thought about it whether it's good or bad. Just move on. That's it.
Hmm.
Always move on. And she also suggests that never, matlab, you just be like a normal. Don't exaggerate. Don't be too passive. Just move ahead. That's it. And believes on your decisions. That's it.
Hmm. Fair enough. So that is a very close to heart story for you. And are there any person or in generic people who have been accustomed to, okay, hey, these guys are good leaders? Any one of them come to your mind?
Apart from my parents, you
Yes.
say.
Anyone in general diaspora or around the world, uh, present or past?
Of course, if we say a normal leader, of course, a PM is a leader. So I'm just not counting him. But if we say person who I know personally,
Not
uh,
necessarily personally. You maybe admire his or her work, or anything, or the outcome that he or she has achieved.
it's a very tough question to think because
Easy one would be in sports.
acha, is in sports. If you say sport, of course, there are very many people like Surya Kumar Yadav, right?
Hmm.
I know because the way he just do his performance, it's a leader, but it's a leader, but it's not exactly leader because it's a player, right? I would a little bit more MS Dhoni. Why? Because I have seen the World Cup in which the India won. He just evaluate the environment. He changes his down instead of coming in six, he come at third down and just play and just win the game World Cup for India. So yeah, that's a leader because he takes take a strong decision in a very short amount of time because he knows that he have to come down on the field now. There's no place to send the other the batsman to do.
Fair enough. So Dhoni is widely regarded as one of the good leaders of the modern era, not only in cricket, in general also as a person. Okay, and now think about somebody who has been regarded as a good leader in the business side of things.
Business side.
Anyone who
Ratan
is
Ratan Tata. Ratan Tata.
Ratan Tata ji is regarded as? What are the traits that you think has made him a good leader?
Because he bounced back always whenever get whenever he thinks that he get defeated, just like Tata Motors. I have just read a story. It's a very famous one that Tata was uh, reach out to Ford to sell his Tata Motors, and I think Ford just gave some comments that why you have entered in this field if you don't have any kind of knowledge. Then Ratan Tata came back and just told that we are canceling the deal and just we are bounced back, and he just made it Tata Motors, did rework on it, brainstorm on it, and he just made it Tata Motors so that level. Then the Ford come to Ratan Tata to sell his, I think, Langor, Jaguars, and one Ratan Tata just go. That's a thing. That's a trait. Yeah, he
Yeah,
take
so
a bounce.
yeah, okay. So that is one of the traits. But there are many traits about Mr. Tata that are very admirable. One of them would be after the, say, 2611 crisis, and whoever lost lives in the premier Taj Hotel, uh, Tatas have pledged lifetime salary for them. Lifetime salary. That means he understood from the pain point, and he was there, right there when the attacks were happening. Ratan Tata didn't needed to be there. Mr. Ratan Tata was on ground observing what is happening. Purely from a risk point of view, or forget about risk point of view, purely from the empathy point of view, he was there because he knows people and his staff was suffering due to this unfortunate crisis, and he was there on the ground. And there are very famous pics of him with NSG, talking to them, understanding the situation, and it's implement he didn't needed to. He purely from a, let's say, point of view of being a business tycoon, he has done more than enough till that point. He has more than enough wealth. He has everything that you can desire a person has. He had that, but still, because his people who he considered himself to be responsible for, he was there on the ground. And these are the simple things, uh, due to which Mr. Ratan Tata or Dhoni or people like, previous in history, they have been phenomenal leaders, good and bad also, phenomenal leaders, uh, who have done, let's say, who have taken mankind either very forward or a little bit back also. uh, so today, what we'll focus on in the session is what, taking from all the cues around the world, what author has done is he has done his study, and he has formulated these are the some of the fundamental traits which makes a good leader. Okay, and the primary one being, let me share my screen. I guess this is visible now,
Yes,
correct? And the primary one being actually is emotional quotient. Do you understand what is emotional quotient?
emotional.
Quotient,
No, no,
or
emotional. I something emotional, but
okay,
quotient.
okay, it is actually emotional intelligence. Emotional quotient is a part of it. So you understand simple intelligence, right? So leaders are often intelligent, correct?
Or often.
Intelligent. They are simple yet intelligent people. They may not have very good amount of education, but they are intelligent people. And you name any one of them. From one side, you can have Gandhi, who was a phenomenal leader. One can you have Hitler, who was a phenomenal leader in his capacity. They both were intelligent people. That is one of the base traits. But just being intelligent is not good enough for a person to be a very good leader. What he or she needs is, or maybe that this is one other thing that they already have, is emotional intelligence. Okay, and that is what author communicates. Emotional intelligence is what makes a good leader or bad leader, actually. And he says we all have heard a story about a very highly intelligent, very highly executive. Your career has started, unfortunately, recently. You will soon hear these stories, and or you will observe these, Aman, which is people have, hey, बढ़िया मस्त तेज बंदा है ना, या फिर यार ये तो मतलब टॉप पे तो क्या ही बंदा है, मतलब क्या ही बंदी है ये, बहुत ही तेज है ना। मतलब इसको तो मतलब ये जो बोलेगा कर देंगे, एंड द मोमेंट दे आर पुट एट द टॉप, unfortunately they fail, even though they were doing insanely phenomenal in their current capacity, maybe twice or thrice times better. And there are stories of very simple people who may not be extraordinary in terms of, neither in terms of execution skill not in terms of oratory skill, not in even in terms of intellectual abilities or technical skills, who when are promoted to, let's say, the senior leadership positions, do really well. So it is a strange phenomenon, right? If intelligence was the only quotient, the person A should have been doing relatively well versus person B. Correct? And this is a very anecdotal experience very a lot of people have. Hey, people who are not supposed to be good leaders are actually doing well, just because supposed to be good leader benchmark we have established as them being very good, them coming from a particular college, them doing having a particular score in particular exam. Correct? So those let's say precursors have often failed because for some reason, and that reason is emotional intelligence. If the person A had emotional intelligence, he or she would have done phenomenally well versus the person B. But if person A lacked emotional intelligence, the person B who had it will outperform as a leader in short term and medium and in the long term. And now we'll
So
deep
what is
dive.
exactly so emotional intelligence, right?
Now
You
the
said
question is what is emotional intelligence?
yes.
Correct.
Sorry to
Now,
interrupt. You can continue. You can give a definition to it later,
huh,
or is a subset of it.
cool. So emotional intelligence are actually emotional skills, and these are the capability a person has. An author has categorized emotional intelligence in 5 buckets. And do you have this capability or not? First is self-awareness. Okay, self-awareness is very simple. Does a person knows himself, his own or her own strength, her own weakness, personal drives, values, and impact? These are the things that we covered in couple of the earlier 2 sessions. Knowing yourself become are the fundamental building block of becoming a leader. Then it is self-regulation. This is where the criticality comes, the pragmatism comes of being a leader. Controlling your own internal impulses and moods. As a leader, you just cannot snap. As a leader, you're not supposed to, and you're not supposed to snap. And these are the people who are often very good at self-regulation, tend to get more people on board, tend to get more alignment without, let's say, even snapping or showing impulsive behavior. And these are the people want to work with more. See? And it is very imagine nobody wants to work for a simple red-headed person who may be intelligent, but it is very difficult to work with. Correct? So for a person to be actually a very good leader, once he or she knows her himself, then it is more about one, then they need to learn to control their own impulses and emotions and moods. The example that you gave, Dhoni was praised to be a calm person, insanely calm person. Everybody was feeling the tension, or everybody was showing chaotic behavior, and people can see calmness, let's say, from Dhoni's eyes. And when you listen to his simple interviews, he will say that everything happens. I'm just relatively better at than controlling my emotion and showing them when situation is tense. That's the only difference. So everything must be boiling down, or a hodgepodge must be going on in his head. He's just not giving it out to the world to feed on it. Fair enough. The next thing, let's say, which is a part of emotional intelligence, is motivation. Motivation is doing thing for its own sake. Okay, they are self motivated. They do things and they are able to motivate other people also. Then comes empathy. This simply means understanding other people and their mental makeup. You just cannot lead people unless you understand them and you are able to work with them. Correct? And the last skill a person needs to have is social skill. This would need to require a person to invest in other people and build a rapport of communication, easy communication over the years, so that he or they can work with other people and they can navigate the world relatively well, and also help other people move in the desired direction that they want. So it's also about getting your shit done, also about getting from the other people that you're not directly responsible towards, and also getting shit done with people you are responsible towards. And this is a social skill that a person needs to have. Even if you are very self-aware, even if you are, let's say, very self-regulated, even if you have decent amount of emotion, even if you have empathy, but you don't have social skill to actually implement it, you'll not be able to impact people, correct? Something as people are able to follow Elon Musk. He would be self, let's say, aware. He will be self-regulated. He would have very right of motivation to land towards on the moon, and he would need to have empathy for entire humankind. But he's not communicating that vision, imagine, to everybody else. People are not going to join forces, come down, head down, execute for sake of chasing his vision, right? So this is one of the thing which makes or breaks actually. Even if you have the first four, if you don't have social skill, it will be very difficult. People have done it. It's not like people have not done it. Various business leaders at the top are actually introverts. If you talk about social skill, but they learn social skill. Even though there are introverts, they learn social skills. You understand the difference? Social skill doesn't means you going out and partying. Social skill means you are able to guide people in the desired direction through your communication and the rapport that you have built with them over the years. Understand the difference, right, Aman? Cool. So now,
Got it.
once we understand what are the basic building block of emotional intelligence, the question comes: can we build it? People are often said, "Hey, he was a born leader, or she was a born leader." It's not that the case. People can learn. So there, based upon the study that author has done, there is a biological, um, let's say, biological benefit a few people have just because it's easy for them, let's say, to have a good amount of empathy. It's easy for them relatively to have the social skill, so they have that advantage per se. But even if you don't, you through practice and persistence, you can simply learn all the emotional intelligence skills. And you need to, and a funny part is you would need to take feedback from your colleagues and coaches. That is a short way to build emotional intelligence, apart from the feedback analysis that author suggests to be more self-aware. It's a very simple feedback loop model that you need to continuously improve on in order to build your emotional intelligence. So let's deep dive further in any question that you have till now.
No, no, no. Got it. And feedback is the main. Why? Feedback is a part of learning that, or it's a part of self-improving. Where is the feedback comes into play?
It is more about, let's say, good question. So let's say there is a very good executive. She has done really well for the first 4 years of her, let's say, career, and suddenly what she finds that uh, and everyone in her team has left in a space of two months. Okay, first time she can consider that as an anomaly, correct? And she goes on, and after 6 months she finds that, oh shit, my team has again left in 2 months. Now this is the question point of worry, in terms of what am I doing wrong, because I'm responsible for these people, I am able to hire them, I know my strengths, I am self-regulated. What are the things that I'm missing, that I'm not able to effectively lead these people, and they are motivated enough to work with me for longer period, correct? This is the point you would seek feedback from your colleagues or the coaches. You understand? This is
Got it.
one, and at that moment, let's say that executive gets a feedback, hey, you just don't listen to people. Very simple feedback. The simplest feedback can be, you just don't listen to people. And that is the reason people are not willing to align towards working with you in the long run. Now this is the feedback she has got. Now the question would be, can she simply act on it and improve on it? After collecting the feedback, then creating a system so that she can improve on the feedback received. This is the feedback loop, a simple feedback loop. Now you get the example. Cool. Now let's talk about all the five components in little bit detail. First component was self-awareness. And what was the definition? Definition was very simple: knowing own emotions, strengths, weakness, drives, values, and goals, and their impact on others. This is the critical part. And their impact on others. Example: your strength would be, let's say, JavaScript. I'm just taking vague examples. Okay, let's say your strength is JavaScript, and what does that translate to? Your ability to capture a new language relatively easily, versus other people. Let's say that is your strength. How does that impact other people? Are you able to take any project on your behalf, and you're able to deliver that? But are you considering your own personal capacity, and you're not considering the capacity of your devs? You might be self-aware that, hey, I am able to capture anything. That is the first part. But you might lack empathy. Hey, even how does this experience of grinding through and learning impacts other people, if it actually affects my team? And you being comfortable enough and have the social skill enough to have that communication about your team, that to your team. These are the ways. In terms of
And yeah,
self.
I didn't get it. Rian, can you please repeat if I have a skipped strength of learning JavaScript and I can learn the language very easily. So what you said oppose that? Can you elaborate it more?
Sure. The first was mainly yourself, that you have a strength of learning any language. Okay, that is your strength. And once you are working in a small capacity, it was okay. Your strength is to capture a new form of information, but you forget its impact on your other teammates, because you accept a project which requires entire team to learn a new language, or entire team to learn a new tech stack. But unfortunately, as a leader, you lacked the empathy. You didn't simply care about, okay, hey, whatever the experience is, you have to do it. Yes, people do go that route. People do go that route, but you as a leader needs to have that empathy, okay, hey, some people in my team might struggle by adopting very quickly to a new language. Let's say you are comfortable with JavaScript. Tomorrow onwards, your recruiters, your job provider says, okay, hey, we will code in Java. So you would need to learn and spend your entire night to learn to get the same amount of capacity, correct? And developer capacity. So this is the experience your leader might have put you through. So he or she might be self-aware that, hey, I can learn anything, but my team should also be able to deliver this. Let's say deliver this, because this is my strength. So I'll be able to deliver this project. I'll be able to have, I'll be able to deliver this project by communicating that the same to my team, because I can capture this information relatively well. They might not be. Your strength
Hmm.
might have an adverse effect on your teammates, or the people that you are representing.
Got it. समझ गया मैं.
Hmm?
It's empathy जो है वो चीज होनी चाहिए
हाँ,
leader
empathy
में,
होनी
right?
चाहिए. Yes. And then there is, if you purely talk about self awareness now, it's about knowing yourself, that we talked about in earlier couple of sessions. Your strength, your weakness, your drives, your value, and your goals. Okay. And in work environment, in order for you to gauge, or anybody to gauge a person who is self aware, you will see that those person will be confident. You will see those person will be more reflective, and do self assessment a lot. And there is another side of it. They do tend to have self deprecating sense of humor. Example: they know that their own weaknesses. So whenever there is a fun, there is an order amount of, there's some amount of banter going on, they're able to make joke on themselves. Okay. And they have thrust
Got
for constructive criticism. They continuously seek feedback from the people that they get inspired from.
got it.
Okay. And a simple example of a leader having self-awareness is,
It's
a manager knows, whenever there is a tight deadline, he tends to act very fanatically, or very, let's say have very rude conversations. Okay.
हाँ
Sorry for the
बोलिए
small
आप कुछ कह रहे थे.
sorry for the small
हाँ.
disturbance, someone. So an example of a leader actually being self-aware would be, imagine a leader knows that whenever he or she has a very tight deadline, he or she tends to act very fanatically or very rudely with his teammates. So he or she knows that first, and he is self-aware about that. Okay, so what he does is he or she will over-index on dividing, creating buffer, planning to the nail, so that work gets done in advance. So the situation or the work amount of work which is left when the deadline comes near is very less, because he knows or she knows that this will bring the worst out of it. Okay, this is one of the examples that you can see. Then if you talk about self-regulation, regulation, it is very simple. Controlling your own internal emotion and impulses. Okay, impulses. And in work environment, you will find these people who have self-regulation is they are trustworthy, they are they have decent amount sense of integrity. um, and then you will find that these people are easily able to adapt towards change. These are the markers that you will see people who have decent amount of self-regulation, because even though they are whenever something changes, they might be feeling very uncomfortable internally, but they just don't express that, and you will find the perception will be created that okay, this person is comfortable with change, because they are actually self-regulating. They may not be self comfortable with the change, but they have more self-regulation. So the perception which gets created by communication is these people are comfortable with change. Okay,
Got, so which is right,
which is the
right or wrong? मतलब assuming that someone is comfortable, and this empathy factor comes also in, because I know he can may not be comfortable, but he has a self-regulation and he didn't
and,
express emotion. So
and
I just feel
this is for leaders. This is not for people who are working with the leaders. So all the examples are for leaders. So example,
got
a simple example can be, as author also says, ki, let's say your team was giving a presentation in town hall, you know, and they didn't go about doing a very good job. Yeah. So instead of, let's say, just after town hall, creating a stand up or let's just quick link with the team and just shouting with them, you know, the leader can have the self regulation and simply express that we as a team have failed, and explain the consequences of it, and explore the solutions with the team. The
got
team,
positive approach.
team is doing the positive approach is, this approach is to execute. The leader was self-regulated that he or she didn't shout on his team, even though he was feeling that okay, you guys purposely did a very bad job, okay, or you did a very suboptimal job. Instead of
मतलब he
shouting,
has got it. So he just at least communicated that he's that they did a mistake.
he communicated that you did a mistake, and he even explained the consequences. Ki, hey, you botched up, let's say, the sales call. This will mean we will have fewer business. This can mean that the potential client will not turn up, and this can mean us having lesser business. This can mean eventually a couple of people might need to leave the team and because of budget constraints. Instead of simply saying, hey, you didn't do a you botched up the presentation, couple of you guys will be fired, and then I will figure out who made it possible. Okay, instead of the second approach, the self-regulated leader will take the first approach. Fair enough.
Got it.
Then there is motivation. This simply means um, just just achieving things for the sake of achievement and having that drive.
Okay, being driven to achieve for the sake of achievement. But he just want achievements. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. I'm just motivated to do this. Example, upskill club चलेगा तो चलेगा. Example, this is narcissist example, but yes, चलना है तो चलाना है बस, है ना. तो एग्जाम्पल, यू वुड हैव फाउंड पीपल कि नहीं यार ये करना तो करना ही है, and you can feel the passion from them because by talking to them and these leaders. And you will
Got it.
especially find these people are very very passionate about their daily work, and they continuously seek new challenges, and they have this insane amount of energy to improve, not desire. There's a difference between desire and energy. Okay? They have insane amount of energy to improve. And even if, and then one of the trait is, even if you have a bad day, these guys are able to lift up the team. Fair
Got
enough.
it.
Examples are example, the author says it is very simple. Let's say you failed for 3 quarters, the entire team failed for 3 quarters, and company has lost business. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. And instead of blaming everybody, your CEO or CTO can simply come say we had very bad 4 quarters, last 3 quarters. We have 2 quarters to turn around the firm, else things will go downhill for them, and they will figure out. Uh, they, they do the SWOT analysis and whatever is needed to get this done. So and this is the traits you will find only in people who are motivated to do better just for the sake of it.
Got it.
Okay. And this is in my personal opinion, last two are the most important skills in terms of effectiveness of a leader. Even if you have the all first three, you don't have empathy for the team who is working along with you, and you don't consider their feelings, especially while making decisions. Example, there will be instances when a project, an important project, must be given to, let's say, somebody who just delivers fast, and it might hurt a person who is senior in the team. Hey, this was very important for the firm, but you didn't give it to me, you gave it to somebody else. Just because he or she will deliver it fast, I would have taken a couple of days just to design. Correct, that might be the case. Correct. And this happens. This is a very simple scenario which happens. Correct. Now leader who has empathy will talk about this to the person who must be feeling down about this. Okay, and know that this happened and this is the reason it has happened. We don't doubt your capability, we simply find that your strengths are better aligned towards a different project. Just having this one line of communication will help that guy. Correct. Cool. And what you will find is people who are able to do that, the people who are working for them retain and work with them for very long. And these people who have empathy are able to retain teams or a very big teams under them for a longer period of time. And they also have an innate nature to develop others just because they have empathy. Okay. And the okay, and this is very simple learning. And then these people are more sensitive towards cultural aspects of people, the cultural aspects. Example, somebody not getting a leave on Ponam just because they are in Delhi team. The leader will identify it, and it might give him a comp off, just because he understands that, okay, I know you are in Delhi NCR team and you don't get legally uh, the off, but it's okay, take the day off. Yeah,
Got it.
because I know the festival is important to you. Cool. For the
Got it.
last part of it, let's restart the meeting so that we
That
can continue further.
same. We'll rejoin the same.
Yeah.
Huh.
Cool, Aman. Let's continue. So we almost covered whatever it takes to make a good leader. At the last, and we discussed empathy to the last point. And the last skill, as I need to reiterate earlier, was social skill. And at the crux of it, is not being introvert or extrovert. Remember that at the crux of it is managing relationship so that you can move people in the desired direction. This is the social skill that you need to have. You don't need to go out and party. That is your personal choice or lifestyle. Social skill is you are able to move people in the desired direction. And the key indicators of do people have social skills or not are um, their effectiveness in leading change. Trivial example can be, hey, we are doing native development, now will have a React Native platform, and this is the new way of operating, and the people are able to lead this change, even though a lot of people might not agree with it. And then they're able to persuade people to get it done. One of the if people are able to have a decent social skill, they tend to have a decent amount of social networking network also. Okay, and they have a track record in some shape and form where they have shown expertise in building teams and leading them through proxy metrics. It can be proxy projects, one or two projects, or let's say a team of three or four. These people show this earlier signs earlier also.
But didn't get it. Can you please repeat? मतलब
This
समझा नहीं मैं
means
इसमें.
these leaders who are yet not sitting at the top of the, let's say, skills, but they would have shown decent amount of track record in terms of their expertise in building teams. Hey, I have this mandate, there is nobody to support me, but in a space of 6 months, I was not only I was able to build this team, I was also able to deliver the mandate while building this team. And now this team, the new team that I have formulated, is good enough to take care of this mandate forever in future.
Mandate,
And
define. If we're taking an example, it's a little better for others to understand
okay,
this as
that's the
well.
first example only, that somebody wants to take a change, lead the change. Okay, or let's say we need to migrate to a new tech stack.
Got it.
Okay, and then first what they would know ki who are the people who are decently competent enough to deliver this. Correct? They need to onboard them. Then they would need to create a central team which will create this infra, and then they will need to create a communication team which will talk to people and by understanding this infra so that the application team can get it done. And this the leader would need to identify one person at least to take care of the central infra, one person to identify the communication layer, one person to take care of the application layer, and these three or four people will report to them. Correct? And once he or she has formulated their vision, these guys will be able to good enough to independently deliver these three pieces of the bigger mandate. Correct? And these people who have social skills will be able to do this process multiple times easily.
Which one? The top layer or the second one layer in which you have a three executive skills.
So
The with
the
a
top layer will be able to create the second layer multiple times, whatever the project is there.
got it. You just figure out the best a good person who is capable to as good at a segment. जैसे कि कोई लीडर में कुछ चेंज है तो एक पर्सन जो एग्जीक्यूशन जो बनाएगा उसको सेंट्रल प्लेटफॉर्म, एक पर्सन कम्युनिकेशन के लिए कम्युनिकेट करेगा, हेल्प करेगा टीम्स को ऑनबोर्ड में, थर्ड इज द ऑपरेशनल कि वो एग्जैक्टली ऑपरेट कैसे हो रहा है उसको टेक
Correct.
केयर करेगा वो
And
चीज.
and these guys will not only create this team, they will persuade their own leadership to get this done, get the budget if required, get the, let's say, get the hiring done if more hiring needs to be done. Everything they will figure out, and they will be able to do
गॉड
this whenever a new project is thrown at them. They will figure out who are the right people to deliver this mandate, and this is the process that they are there, which will come natural to them just because they have a decent social skill, and they are able to persuade these people in the direction that they want.
गॉट इट. मतलब वो जो ऊपर लीडर है वो जो एग्जीक्यूशन ले जैसे अपन टॉप एग्जीक्यूटिव्स बात की तीन सेगमेंट्स है उनको खुद चूज कर सकता है एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए परसुएट कर सकता है और उनसे पुश बैक भी मतलब टू एंड फ्रो भी रहेगी वो भी लीडर को पुश करेंगे टू गेट द बजट्स और वो सब के लिए. सो इट वाज अ राइट डिसीजन. ये इंश्योर करते हैं कि हाँ वो राइट डिसीजन उनको चूज
हाँ.
करने का राइट. अगर मेरे को चूज करे लोगों का वो कुछ मुझे फीडबैक नहीं दे रहे कुछ पुश नहीं करे देन आई कैन माय assumption is wrong then my people selection is wrong, right? If they were pushing it, they were aligned to my goal and they were pushing me also as well for budget you said or
So
man force.
it's more about their ability to persuade these people. Are they able to persuade these people, and they're able to persuade many people in small capacity, two or three people or four or five people, and keep delivering various projects. This will come natural to them, and these people are more than highly likely to lead a team of 40, 50, 100, 200, 500 in future.
द ऑपरेशनल वन जो ऑपरेशन जो कर रहे हैं आपके
No,
वो.
the people who are able to formulate these small team under themselves based upon the mandate that they want to deliver, they are able to find these people either external hiring or internal hiring, and create this small formulated team so that which can deliver this mandate, and they can keep these
Got
people
it.
intact, focused, deliver the mandate, and then once they're done, these team are good enough to take care of this mandate even if they are not there. So these guys are builder of teams basically. They don't think of projects as ये deliver करना है. They think of कि कौन लोग चाहिए होंगे.
Got it.
Got it?
So
Cool. So that is all. To
okay.
repeat, there are 5 aspects of what makes a leader. First is self awareness. Second is कि in हिंदी कि अपने बारे में जानो. सेल्फ रेगुलेशन इज कि कुछ भी बोलने से पहले सोच लो. मोटिवेशन इज करना है तो करना है. करना है तो करना है. एम्पैथी इज ठीक है, मे बी करना है तो करना है, लेकिन किसी को बुरा लगा है तो उससे बात तो करके देख सकते हैं. या फिर किसी का धंधा खा रहे हैं तो उसे उसे बता तो दें. या फिर किसी को मेरी वजह से जाना पड़ रहा है, तो मेरे अंदर इतना तो मतलब से गुदा होना चाहिए कि मैं बात तो करूँ कि आई एम सॉरी कि ये हो रहा है तुम्हारे साथ. ठीक. एंड किसको मिलता हुआ काम या उसकी आकांक्षा तुम किसी ने छीन ली उससे, तो ये गुड इनफ टू कम्युनिकेट दैट टू दैट पर्सन. इतना होना चाहिए. एंड दिस इज द हार्डेस्ट पार्ट एक्चुअली, एंड दैट्स व्हाई पीपल अवॉइड दिस आल्सो. ठीक. एंड
Got
द लास्ट इज स्किल, कि तुम अपनी टीम बनाने पे ध्यान देते हो या फिर ओनली प्रोजेक्ट बनाने पे ध्यान देते हो. फेयर है ना? So
got
that
it.
covers what
Makes
makes a
sense.
leader. Cool. And there are a couple of questions that I asked earlier कि people हमेशा ये बोलते थे कि leaders are born or made. कि क्या लीडर तो पैदा ही लीडर हुआ था ये. हाँ, ये तो बचपन से ये था, पूत के पाँव पालने में दिख जाते हैं, है ना. तो ये दिख गया था ये कि बचपन में ही ना ये क्रिकेट टीम लीड कर रहा था यार. बचपन में ही ना ये, मेरे घर में 3 खरगोश थे, तीनों खरगोश इसके ही पीछे लगे रहते थे. तो पीपल आर, है ना. तो पीपल हैव फॉर्मुलेटेड let's say various theories. तो but the question is कि can we learn emotional intelligence? Can anybody become a good leader? ठीक है. तो some people are born with a certain level of empathy. As I said earlier, empathy would be the toughest skill out of all the 5, है ना. And it can happen through traumatic life experience or the exposure that they have or the environment that they were born in. Okay. but
Got it.
but in general, empathy through feedback analysis can be learned. Emotional intelligence can be learned. It is proven.
Got it.
Okay. One of the clear thing is, जो लोग बोलते हैं ना ये तो मैच्योर हो गया बंदा, हाँ ये तो मैच्योर हो गया, हाँ सही है, देख लेगा, मैच्योर है वो लड़का, बोलते हैं ना. तो one of the
Yes.
things which has been proven is emotional intelligence increases with age.
ये proven है.
ये प्रूवन है कि इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस अपने आप बढ़ जाता है, बिकॉज यू गेट एक्सपोज टू मोर एंड मोर थिंग्स एंड यू अडॉप्ट. दैट वेरी सिंपल रीजन. You do feedback analysis either forceful or intentional. कि somebody forces the feedback analysis through क्या तू ये खराब कर रहा है, तू खराब कर रहा है, और you are self aware enough कि तुम ये खुद feedback सीख कर रहे हो. So with age people simply get more mature, generally, and their emotional intelligence increases.
नहीं, देयर इज आल्सो बीन केस ना कि आप खुद का फीडबैक एनालिसिस कुछ लोग बहुत गुड होते हैं या खुद वो समझ जाते हैं कि एंड ऑफ द डे की क्या चीज सही है क्या चीज सही नहीं है, दूसरे के पर्सपेक्टिव से बहुत अच्छा सोच लेते हैं. डू दे आल्सो सीक द फीडबैक फ्रॉम अदर्स एज वेल उसके अलावा भी?
हाँ they करते हैं, लेकिन one of the things that author also highlights is people have programs, companies have programs to improve emotional intelligence in their leaders. And and he says that they are, the program that he has, let's say, surveyed or let's say sat through, are waste of money, because they unfortunately try to target the wrong part of the brain. Okay. And this is the biological, pure biology that he communicates, which is emotional intelligence is largely born in the neurotransmitter of the brain's limbic system. Limbic system is able to govern feelings, impulses, and drives. And research has indicated that limbic system learns best through motivation, extended practice, and feedback.
Extended practice is what?
Extended practice of लेट्स से डूइंग फीडबैक एनालिसिस करते रहो, एक्सटेंडेड प्रैक्टिस ऑफ लर्निंग इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, अच्छा लोगों से बात करके सीखा है, अपने बारे में बात करके सीखा है, अपने बारे में जर्नलिंग करके सीखा है, तब आप एक्चुअली सेल्फ अवेयर होते हो, रादर देन कि कुछ नहीं बोलते कि सेल्फ अवेयर हो जाए आपसे। कि आज एक वर्कशॉप करेंगे, उसमें एक फॉर्म भरवाएंगे जैसे कि हमने पिछले सेशन में किया था, एक फॉर्म भरवाएंगे और उस फॉर्म को भरने के बाद आप सेल्फ अवेयर हो जाएंगे, ऐसा नहीं होता। It needs extended practice and it needs motivation either internal or external. In my personal view, external motivation doesn't stays, internal motivation ही चाहिए होता है आपको। तो limbic system is able to process feelings, neocortex is able to process technical govern analytics and technical abilities। और जितने भी प्रोग्राम्स रन करते हैं ना वर्ल्ड में, अनफॉर्चुनेटली दे ट्राई टू टारगेट न्यू कॉर्टेक्स। ओके, जबकि उनको टारगेट किसको करना चाहिए? लिम्बिक सिस्टम को, टू इम्प्रूव इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस so that people become better leaders.
So what are the governing principles for limbic system? One is extended practice, second is feedback, and third is motivation, right?
Motivation.
Motivation. Got it. Hmm. And neocortex का क्या था?
Neocortex is basically जो the newest form of brain है, it is primarily responsible for analytical and technical skills. Without neocortex you will not be able to write javascript, okay, but without limbic system you will not feel bad if someone comes and scolds you.
Got it. समझ गया. जो समझ गया मैं. Got it.
Cool. With that, this is the wrap of the text that author has communicated. Now the forum is open for any questions from your side, Aman.
हाँ, sure. It was a very good session and very deep inside. काफी कुछ इसमें है. But the problem एक point है कि do the people are not aware of this? Yeah, do the people are aware but still वही motivation की बात है कि they limbic system सोचता है कितना वो भी करता है. Depend on the people's perspective, right?
पर्सपेक्टिव मैटर करता है, ऐसी बात नहीं है। एक्सटेंडेड प्रैक्टिस का गुड एग्जांपल मैं तुम्हें दे देता हूँ लिम्बिक सिस्टम को। somebody who is as friend upon as a leader as Hitler, in order to deliver very effective speeches, he used to practice for hours, uh, hours, so that let's say he can create impact through his speeches, hours and hours. And
Just like
his
Steve Jobs.
I'm giving the strangest example so that you can relate ki why he was considered as a great leader even though he was not considered as a great person.
Got it,
He,
Hitler.
wa- he was a very good leader in terms of getting the entire nation rallied up and going to war. Imagine, forget about you delivering an OKR. That person got the entire nation to go to war. है ना? तो those might be, he must be self aware कि हाँ, what are my strengths? I'm not able to speak well. I need to practice. Okay, even though yeah, I'll not say he had self regulation because of Holocaust, but uh, he would have faced this trouble कि whenever his subordinates might have not agreed with him points, he had all the power just to say कि, hey, you're done, and he might even have done that, but he would need to have to learn self regulation कि, hey, okay, even though I'm the let's say leader of this big army, I cannot go around and let's say execute my own people. Cool. I'll
Got
surely not say he had empathy. I'll not say on record that he had empathy or he had this. He did had social skills. He did had social skills. I'll not say he'd have empathy. He did had very 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 strong motivation. Very strong motivation, and people were able to feel that motivation through his speeches. Cool. And this is one side of the coin. Person who is regarded as a very bad person, but he was able to do something very difficult. Then again, the other side of spectrum, if you talk about somebody even more phenomenal than him, was let's say an Indian Gandhi. Imagine his scenario now. He got the entire nation to rally up as a leader. And now compare the aspects. Did Gandhi knew what his strength was? He knew he cannot go and create a war. He knew he can fast, and he knew he can fast for let's say long days, and let's say people will support him. He always used that. Whenever he felt bad about an incident, he simply organized a fast because he was self-aware that I will be able to take it. Correct.
Got it.
And then his motivation was also strong. So you will find the motivation overpowered Gandhi's leadership and Hitler's leadership also. Motivation would have been the strongest factor. Empathy, obviously, in the first
Got
case
it.
you don't have empathy. In the second case, there is a very good case of very strong empathy for people. Cool. So you will find these five
No, no, no.
traits very common in a very good leaders. People will always be managers. Understand that they might be very effective managers. There's no doubt about it. But do people actually rally with them, or versus do people simply go along because they are effective at their job? That is the difference.
No, makes sense. Hmm. It's a very good thing to learn, matlab, even from what do you want to share about your experience, because you are also ground start from your ground and being a very good manager, right? I
Like
know.
everything is relative and subjective. So I can speak from my experience. Yes, I was responsible for some people during my stint at urban company. I was not responsible earlier. As I said, one of the points in the session was key people who are able to lead teams will showcase you tendency to lead teams in some shape and form through initiatives. Correct. And I was personally able to do that when I was young, as in, let's say, very fresh person joining the team. I was able to get people in a room, hey, let's discuss Android. That was my passion, that was my motivation. So I was able to get them to discuss that more often than not on a weekly basis. So that was one of the traits of me having social skills, showcasing social skills. And then there were chances uh, when people were not promoted under me, or people expected promotion or percent certain a form of hike, and it was not given to them, and they were really sad about it. That has happened. But I believe I was able to talk to them ki why that has been the case. Why is a reflection of, let's say, true reflection of the value that they bring versus कि ये मिल जाएगा तो इतना हो जाएगा, ये कर दिए प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवर कर दोगे तो हो जाएगा, नहीं. That communication you should trigger before PRs.
Got it. No, that's a very good part. Matlab, you mean to say that effective leaders somehow has a magnetic, you can say, a strength which accumulate. मतलब there's a power. मतलब अपने आप को teams बनाने लग जाएंगे. They वो initiatives लेके खुद ना खुद लोग ढूंढ के start कर देंगे. कुछ ना कुछ करना, right? That's mean you want to say. Just
Yes.
like you said कि मेरा passion है, मैंने खुद लोग ढूंढे, मैंने start कर discuss किया, and in fact इवेंचुअली अगर देखा तो एंड्रॉइड्स हमारी चीजें काफी स्टेबलाइज्ड हैं, ऐसा नहीं है, बट वही है पैशन लेके खुद टीम ड्राइवर, एंड पीपल विल फिगर इट आउट इफ दे वर एज अ गुड लीडर, दे विल फिगर इट आउट दैट यू हैव अ कैपेबिलिटी ऑफ बीइंग अ गुड लीडर एंड दे
हाँ
गिव
मतलब
यू अपॉर्चुनिटी.
it is more about one of the funny thing is what I have observed from my experiences. um, Actually जो good leaders है ना, they never asked to be good leaders. They never asked कि मुझे ये कर दो तो मैं करूँगा, नहीं. They never asked, just they go about and do it. एनेक्डोटल लगता है थोड़ा सा. एनेक्डोटल लगता है कि भाई ये तो ऐसे कैसे कर दूं मैं पहले, बट you will find ki people who actually want to lead, they don't wait for a role, they don't wait for a project, they don't wait for things. It just comes natural to them, and this is the natural part of some people are naturally good at leadership. They have higher form of empathy. I have seen people having higher form of empathy. I have also seen people who are promoted to a semi leadership role um, just because they were insanely good individual performers, even in semi leadership. And the moment they were given a small team, the project crumbled. The let's say the person, let's say, might have been stressed a lot just because of the new role, just because they didn't learn the other part of leadership, which was not only the self regulation that they didn't had earlier, which was appreciated, will not be appreciated a lot when they are leading a team. The strong feedback they were able to communicate in whatever language that they deemed fit earlier, would not make the case when they are leading a team. Okay, they earlier simply didn't care कि how a person is feeling. मैंने तो बता दिया इसको जो बोलना था, नहीं अच्छा है तो नहीं अच्छा है, इसमें क्या सोचने की बात है ना. But as a leader, that is not how you can operate. हाँ,
समझ गया मैं.
you would give
Yeah.
that feedback, you will give the same feedback. It's not that you will not give the feedback, you will give the same exact feedback, है ना. But the empathy that you will have and the communication that you will let's say choose will be different. This is and this person who is not able to do it, if intervention is done at the right time, and this particular feedback was given, I was able to give this feedback to this person, and I was able to see, okay, just by accepting this feedback, that person okay, I'm becoming bossy, something as simple as that. That person was able to accept this fact. Just because a responsibility is given to me doesn't means I need to be bossy. Okay.
That is not a, that's not a trait of a leader, right?
हाँ हाँ मतलब this I'm speaking from my experience as a stint, and that person evolved. So this also answered, can emotional intelligence be learned? Yes, that person learned, but the feedback analysis, intervention and feedback was important for this person.
Got it. Hey, it's a very good thing. I think we should also discuss how to set up a good feedback analysis loop. What the people generally do, they just sync with people, they ask, but yeah, there can be also some better ways to get a creating a feedback loop. So we can discuss, I think, in any of the sessions how to create that.
What you're suggesting, what are the things a person needs to do to create an effective system of so that he or she can conduct feedback analysis?
फीडबैक एनालिसिस मेनली आई थिंक हमने किया था एक फर्स्ट में कि आइडेंटिफाई दिस, बट एक होता है फीडबैक लूप जिसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन एंड व्हाट वी डिस्कस इन द फर्स्ट सेशन, यू जस्ट एनालाइज योरसेल्फ वीकनेसेस एंड दिस हैव अ 6 months देन री अगेन रीआइट्रेट ऑन द सेम. तो
हाँ,
एक बार हम कर
but
सकते हैं.
but but you will find people often forget that, correct? And now you will realize why companies have 6-month PR system or versus a 1-year PR system. This is a forcing function for people to talk about this, people to talk about company to say, take a step back and think about an employee. And similarly, employee does that through his own analysis. You might have filled your own, let's say, your own feedback multiple times, right? The mistake that people have done and what I have seen is, people tend to sell themselves in the sense कि मैंने ये भी किया, 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 ये भी किया. But that form that you're filling is not for the purpose. That form is so that you can do feedback analysis. It is actually feedback analysis in an action, the PR system. People just tend to tie with a very short term incentive of ये percentage मिल जाएगा, versus looking back in the last 6 months and answering the question to yourself कि मैं grow कैसे किया, मैं ग्रो कैसे किया हूँ. And when you ask this person a question again and again and then 5 times, the 5 whys, when you ask, or 5 hows, let's say in this case, you ask 5 hows कि मैं ग्रो कैसे किया, मैंने ये प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवर किया, तो इसमें मैंने क्या चेंज किया, अच्छा मैंने ये चेंज किया, अच्छा मुझे क्या दिक्कत आई थी इसमें, और कैसे क्या किया था मैं, तो ये दिक्कत है. Once you ask this 5 times, you will realize अच्छा इतना ही चाहिए था फीडबैक एनालिसिस के लिए. और एक्सपेक्टेशन तुमने अगर लिखी होती, if you would have written this expectation at the start of 6 months, and when you have done feedback and reflection at the 6 months, this is only feedback that you need to do. That is it. Only difference is कि अभी हम रुकते हैं कि अभी कंपनी पीआर करेगी 6 महीने बाद, वर्सेस जब हम महीना शुरू कर रहे हैं ना, तब हम अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशन खुद लिख लें कि यार मुझे ऐसे ऑपरेट करना है इन 6 महीने में. This is how I want to improve, and see if you have done that after 6 months or not. This is the part people don't do. Because क्योंकि as at the root they align this process towards short term incentive versus simply seeking how I have grown as a person last 6 months. If you do that continuously, you will see, okay, ये साइकिल अच्छी नहीं गई, कोई बात नहीं, ये साइकिल अच्छी थोड़ी सब ऑप्टिमल नहीं गई, ओके ठीक है मैं क्रैक करने लग गया. In 2 years you will be in a overdrive mode. You will not see it back, you will not seek external feedback, you will stop seeking external motivation. It will come from within, and when it comes from within, you're a very difficult person to stop in terms of growing, because nobody can put a bar on or ceiling on in your growth now. और ये लोग भूल जाते थे, ये तुम अगर बोलते हो ना मेरे फीड मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से ये ज़्यादा मिला है मुझे। when I'm conducting PRs, when I'm conducting जैसे आइडेंटिफाइंग किया ये बंदा लीडर है नहीं है, पीपल ये मिस कर जाते हैं कि अपने आप को ग्रो कैसे हुआ ये लेंस से देखते ही नहीं है, हमेशा देखते हैं कि मैंने क्या चीज़ें की थी, लिस्ट बना लेते हैं कि 10 चीज़ें कर दी थी मैंने, हो गया। नहीं, तुम ग्रो कैसे क्यों उस पर इंडेक्स करना चाहिए हमेशा पर्सन को।
Got it.
Cool. I don't think so if that have answered your question. We have diverged a lot from your question.
No, it's a learning. That's the thing because yeah, we can relate. Yeah, matlab, because the PR is mostly tied towards in rating, and a lot of people can be, you can say, focus towards that the short term, as you suggested, a short term gain. But yeah, it's a kindly a more into it. But yeah, if you accumulate and aggregate subunits, then you will definitely see what you have did or what you have not did. That's why I think we suggested that some people, if you think they were good at their job, is not. But yeah, I have seen people they were good at technical, but yeah, empathy, social skills, that's I mean, I think the thing which and it's I can relate, but I can't describe. That's the thing because it's a feeling. It's feel when you work, you see one person and the other person at the same position and the third person at the same position. And if you have these 5 pointers, I'm just taking example, not exaggerate, not making it high, but yeah, I get it. That is a
And
simple thing.
feedback analysis can be very, very different. I'll tell you from experience, and I'll take you example of my dear friend Tushar only. He does this exercise actually very well. He maybe his frequency is not 6 month strong, or he course correct every 6 month, but in terms of exercise he does this very well. Example, he self realized that he was stuck in a fixed mindset. He accepted that he was stuck in a fixed mindset कि fixed mindset है, इतना ही करना है, ये ऐसे चलता है ना, फीडबैक लेते नहीं है, challenges लेते नहीं है, easily काम कर लेते हैं. He realized that even though he was doing very well, he realized that himself, and then he grew from it, and he adopted growth mindset कि जो फीडबैक दे रहे हैं उसको एक्सेप्ट करके कैसे मैं बहुत एक्सेलरेट कर सकता हूँ, नई चीजें आ रही है तो उसको मैं कैसे एक्सेल कर सकता हूँ, हाउ डू आई क्रिएट अ फ्रेमवर्क सो दैट आई कैन डू इट, है ना, एंड विलिंगनेस टू परसिस्ट कि मैं करता रहूंगा, नहीं आ रहा रिजल्ट कोई बात नहीं, करते रहेंगे परसिवरेंस, all this thing, and it was very good to see, for me from a personal point of view, to for him to take that journey, because he was doing feedback analysis for himself a lot.
नहीं make sense मतलब yeah, true, totally true.
ठीक. Couple of the things that people often forget is life is all about work. Actually it is more. Feedback analysis में actually you need to consider all the aspect: family, health, friends, career, finances and learning. सारे ये सारे तो तुम्हें कंसिडर करने चाहिए एटलीस्ट. और
Makes
फीडबैक
sense, man.
हमेशा उन लोगों ने से लेना चाहिए जो अनबायस्ड फीडबैक तुम्हें दे सकते हैं.
Got it.
ठीक. But what you have suggested is good. What I can come up with a very simple Excel sheet maybe by next session, which people can use to do feedback analysis. And I can create very simple hooks कि email आ जाए result देखने के लिए. All those hooks I can plan. But that is a good suggestion. Anything else I can help with, Aman? We have a couple of minutes more.
We have only 1 minute according to Zoom, but I think that's a very good session, and yeah, it is a literally feeling, but you can feel. That's what I can say. But yeah, it's a totally worthwhile. जो आपने कहा बिल्कुल सही है. मतलब अगर देखो बस ये है कि हाँ, people don't know. Even I also didn't know before this session कि leaders operate कैसे कर रहे हैं.
हाँ.
उनको समझना I think वो चीज एक मतलब पता है यार ठीक है एक लीडर है वो ऑपरेट ऐसे करेंगे वो अच्छे होंगे कम्युनिकेशन में वो सब में अच्छे बट एक इंटेंट होता है वो कहते हैं ना डिजाइन के पीछे एक इंटेंट होता है बढ़िया इट्स टोटली वर्थवहाइल एंड थैंक्स अनुपम सर यू
अरे
आर
this is okay. I guess with that, this would be a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, Aman. See you next week.
Take care.